Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends, for those who are newer members of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, you might not know that we don't just bottle Scotch whisky. Our name is the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, which is how it started back in 1983, with Pip Hills and a few friends forming a syndicate which ended up becoming the world's leading whisky club. However, the panel are obsessed with flavour and flavour alone, and that means exploring other spirit types often and bottling things that we find intriguing and interesting and full of flavour and that will sometimes challenge and sometimes intrigue, but usually always delight. And that's true with the rums and cognacs and armagnacs and gin and everything else we've bottled, including grain whisky, and it's that's no different when it comes to our American selections as well. So we have an American bourbon whiskey coming out in October Outturn. This is a 5-year-old whiskey, Society cask number B3.10. Just to remind you of the coding system, the B's indicate it's a bourbon, B3 is the distillery, so it's the 3rd bourbon distillery to join the society, and .10 means this is the 10th cask the panel have bottled. And this one's actually one of the older ones from this distillery. Now when I say older, you might think that 5 years is not very old for a whiskey, and you'd be right, but let's just take into context, it's American whiskey, and most bourbons around America, and bourbon to be called bourbon, it has to be distilled in the USA, most bourbons are quite young. Most commercial bourbons are between 3 and 5 years of age. Before those casks are then reused a lot by the Scotch whisky industry and many others. However, this is a 5-year-old Arkansas new charred barrel, 58.5%, 59.5, sorry, almost misread that. I did misread that. From a single cask, one of 193 bottles. I'm really happy that we've got a good quarter of the cask of this in Australia for Aussie members to enjoy over this coming month's Outturn. There's not just the anniversary bottlings in Outturn, there's some other amazing goodies. So let's have a taste of this 5-year-old bourbon, B3.10. Just pour a smidge of that. Smouldering coals in a sweat lodge. That sounds fun. That sounds like a sauna in Aspen or something. So it says on the front, smouldering coals in a sweat lodge, cola cubes and moccasins in a painted room, vintage automobile shop, campfire banana, try it with ice. So you can try this however you like. Even the panel recommend trying it with ice. This might be your ideal summer serve over the coming warmer months in Australia. It's a nice burnished red color, like a lot of bourbons. It smells delightful. I know immediately what they mean by cola cubes, that there's almost a cola note to it. Vintage automobile shop also makes sense. That there's a bit of engine grease, concrete grease, old workshop notes, old leather notes. It's far more mature beyond even the age statement implies. Let's have a taste. That's really integrated, and by that I mean it doesn't drink like it's 59.5%. It drinks like it's actually a bit lower. It tastes like it's 53, 52%, which is almost that sweet spot. And by sweet spot, I mean everyone has their own sweet spot with their palate. I'm a huge fan of the low to mid 50% ABVs. That's why some of the 60+% whiskies I'll often add a few drops of water, but something like this, I normally add a drop of water to this, but I don't think I'm going to this time. To be called bourbon, it has to be distilled in the United States. It's not just Tennessee or Kentucky. In this case, it's Arkansas, and it's a distillery, a little distillery, very little distillery, that Kai and Ewan and the team were very impressed with what they were producing. And I think if you taste even their core range, and if you taste these single casks, you'll see exactly what I mean here. There's definitely that cola note in the nose, which I love. Immediately fresh shucked corn. There's a maple syrup note, like a pancake and maple syrup note as well, which is, these are not uncommon tasting notes with some bourbons, but this one's just amplified really in your face. I think I might have to try that one again with some ice. That one's out in October Outturn. We're really lucky to get such a generous portion of the cask, as I know Aussies love their bourbons, as do I. as I'm an Aussie as well, but you know what I mean. I do love these bourbons, and I love the fact that we're getting such a healthy allocation, be able to share around with members around the country. 7th of October is October Outturn, where that one's being released, along with our anniversary casks and a whole host of other goodies, events, virtual tastings, and all the stuff that always goes on every month at the Society. So I'll see you all soon. Sanjivar, happy drowning, and catch you at the next one.